Are you as a parent doing your best to help your child learn, not just their schoolwork, but their everyday life skills? Is it hard? How has life changed from your days as a child? What skills and understanding do you bring to the table to help your child to learn? One of the easiest ways to do this is to understand how you learn and how your child learns. I'm Kate Mason, and today on Personalities, Parenting and Partners, Karen and I will continue to look at the learning styles of you and your child, this time in the home environment. How prepared is your child for the ever-changing world? The parenting skills that we as parents experienced in our upbringing no longer prepare us to help our children. So today, Karen and I are going to look at the skills that our children require to be successful in today's world and share some simple and effective ways to help you as parents help your child acquire both study and life skills. Welcome back, Karen. How are you?
I'm great. It's wonderful to be back again, Kate.
Okay, now listen, today we're just going to go with the flow and just talk about some of the things that will help children learn at home, that you talk about when you talk to parents about teaching children at home and teaching skills. And I'm just going to let you choose whatever you like and that you think would be most worthwhile.
Oh, well, how long's a piece of string and how long have we got? I know. It's like a smorgasbord of options. Yes.
So if I do cut Karen off through this podcast, guys, it's because we've run out of time.
So
go beep. For
it. Okay, so I wrote a whole book on this called Roots and Wings, and it's really about parenting on how to ground our children in the good stuff and to be able to help them to fly and be independent. And so just so you know straight up that I had an ulterior motive in writing that book, and that is that I think our job as parents is to make our children leave home. And I'm a total fraud because mine are still at home. They're 20 and 22 and I can't get rid of them. So I will pay money to anyone who can work out how to get them to go.
I can't help you. Mine are 26 and 28.
I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Okay. I think the most important thing to start with is you are the role model. You are the role model for life and learning for your child. So what are you learning right now? What are you showing that your child that learning is a lifelong process? Or are you like, oh, I'm too old to learn. Oh, I've did my learning in high school or whatever it is, because learning is lifelong. And how are you showing your child that? How are you showing them that it's not always easy, that often it's hard to learn? You know, I think we sold our children a lie when they went to school and we said, go to school, learning will be fun. Actually, learning isn't fun all the time. Learning is hard and it's difficult. And probably the biggest thing that I talk to parents about around learning is that when your children, particularly as they get older, they come home to do their homework or they come home to do their study, and let's face it, they're not actually taught how to study. But when they come home, what they often do is they go over all the things they already know, because that feels good. Now, I want to ask you a question, Kate. Are you a list writer? Do you write to-do lists?
No. Oh, yes, I do. I write about 10. And then I leave them at home, or I leave them in my purse, or I forget them. And then a few weeks later, I look back and I check them and go, oh, score. I actually did well. I did a few things on that list. So no, I'm not. But my son is. My son is the only list maker in our house. So yes, he's a list maker.
As the listeners are listening, if you are a list writer, you'll relate to this, because you see list writers, and you'll still get this too, Kate, but it's a little bit delayed. So you write a list of all the things you want to do. Now, for the list writers, if you continually go back to your list, have you ever gone to cross something off your list because you've done it and it's not there? Kate, what do you think they do?
They write it on and then they cross it off.
Exactly.
I've got a friend like that.
Exactly what they do. Now, there's no logical reason for this, right? Because they've already done it, but there is a physiological reason. And when you cross something off your list, it makes you feel good. It sends those endorphins, those good chemicals into your brain and makes you feel good, physically and mentally. So what happens is when children start going over the things they already know and the lessons they've had in class, and they start practicing the spelling words they can already do, it makes them feel good. Gosh, I'm clever. Gosh, I'm smart. Gosh, I'm amazing. Because they know the stuff. And what do we do as parents? We go, you're so clever, you're so amazing, and we tell them that they're great. But you see, here's the trouble. When they start doing something that's hard and difficult and new, and parents, this is often why as adults we don't like to be learners. When we start to do something new and difficult, the feelings change inside. It's hard and it's difficult, and the internal voice changes. This is hard. What if I fail? What if they think I'm not as smart as they think I am? What if I can't actually do this? What if I am dumb? And so this internal voice starts, and children don't understand that, what you say to yourself isn't, you don't have to believe what you say to yourself. It's not always real, right? That little voice inside your head is talking, but it doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean it's real. But when it's hard and difficult, they get often despondent. And so one of the big messages we have to, I believe, teach our children around learning is that learning is hard and it's difficult, and you need to persist. You need to push through. You need to have that resiliency. Is that the word?
No, but you can make it up.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah.
Yep.
We're about making words up. We have to be able to have those skills in behind the learning to be able to push through on those difficult times. So it's an important thing to be able to model if you're not learning something and they're not seeing you struggle. And in the summertime, we get those beautiful butterflies in our gardens with the chrysalises and the cocoons. Well, did you know that if you help the butterfly out of the chrysalis, it will die? Because it's the struggle as it comes out that actually strengthens its wings and allows it to fly. And so I often talk to children about it's the struggle that makes them strong.
What do we do as parents nowadays, though, that doesn't make our children as strong? We're sitting here in a society of less resilient children and a whole lot of stresses happening for them. And we as parents, I don't think, have really done our children justice. I often say to people, don't bag the children. It's us as adults not having the knowledge and the skills to help build resilient children in a very different world from where we were. When our parents brought us up, life was pretty simple. You had the backyard you played in, and you had a television that maybe you had on for an hour a day. And things were really difficult. Things were really easy. But nowadays there's so many different things with all of the technology that's come into the world. And I think children are struggling without having boundaries, without having the right boundaries. And I think as parents, they're unsure where to put those boundaries in and how to do it, because nobody teaches us as parents. Now, where is the right spot to put that boundary? If my kid has a tantrum over that, what am I going to do about it? Am I going to let them go and then give them the thing they want after? And similarly, when my children were young, and I don't know whether this happened with yours, it came in that everybody got a ribbon on sports day. Now, my husband's all about winning and being first, and not necessarily a good thing, by the way, I want everyone to know. But there is... My children used to come home and throw their ribbons in the bin because there was no effort to be made. Everybody got a ribbon. And in all honesty, it's not life.
Correct.
In life, you actually do have to get out there, fight your way to get a job. You have to do all those things. And I just am not sure whether we've given our children the skills to do that emotionally a lot of the time, and mentally to, like you say, struggle. We went through a phase where everybody, oh, that's beautiful, honey, that's a lovely picture. It might have been crap, but that's just beautiful. But, there's, in fact, most of my children's were, but I won't, sorry about that, kids. But I do feel that there's a whole lot of skills that would be wonderful to know, and we haven't got time to do all of that, but a whole lot of stuff that you might know. It's just a few things that you might know that might help people just start to put in a few boundaries and
Yeah,
Go.
so I think, first of all, it's a conscious choice. And so this has crept up on us, this whole life is easy thing. 1979 was the self-esteem movement of let's give everybody a ribbon and make them feel good. But the problem was it was based on flawed theory that self-esteem came from outside us, that self-esteem comes from inside us. So it was based on a flawed theory to start with. And psychologists now say that. I grew up in a country town on a party line telephone. Many of the people listening will not even know what that is. It's not what you think it is.
Good.
But a party line is when you share your telephone line with the neighbours, and you had a certain sort of ring, short, long, short, or short, short, long, and whoever's ring it was, you knew whether it was yours or the neighbour's. And when you picked up the phone, if the neighbour was on the phone, you could listen to their conversation. All right. So if you wanted to use the phone when I was a kid, you had to wait if the neighbours were on it. There's no other choice, right? Then we got the dial phone, and it took forever to dial the number, and if you made a mistake you had to start again. And then fast forward to the 21st century, I just have to say, Siri, phone home, and Siri does it for me. I don't even have to remember a phone number. It's instantaneous. So this isn't anybody's fault. It's just that life has crept up to us, and everything's become easy. Advertising tells us that everything should be easy, but life isn't easy. So it's a conscious choice, I think, for parents to go, life is designed right now for us to be easy. Think about cleaning products. We went from when you had to rub and scrub to spray and walk away. You don't have to do anything right now. Look, it doesn't clean. You still have to rub and scrub. I remember saying to my son, put some elbow grease in it. And he looks at his elbow and goes, how?
Yeah, those sayings just don't work sometimes.
They don't anymore. But we have to actually explicitly teach and model and show that hard work, and then say these are the boundaries. It's like, this is what I expect you to do, and this is, and again, it comes back to saying it's not always going to be easy. And boundaries, parents, I need you to know this, boundaries are so important. When you put a boundary in, your child is going to push that boundary. They're going to push and push and push, because what they're trying to do is see if they are safe. From a brain level, they need to know, if that boundary is still there, I am safe. But if that boundary moves, I'm not safe anymore. So I need to find out how far I can push to find out where the safety barrier is now.
That really makes sense, because I've actually had both of my children during their span of teenage years. I was quite strict on them going out and alcohol and all the rest of it, and I had my son say to me one day, Mum, can you please tell me that I can't go out to the party tonight so that I can tell my friends that I'm not allowed to go? Because it kept him safe from going to a place that he actually didn't want to go to. And my daughter has done the same thing. And it is hard keeping those boundaries.
It is.
My daughter used to walk down the wall and slam those doors and all the rest of it. And I'd be like, oh, maybe I should change my mind. But I'm very lucky too, because I have a son who's quite strong and quite straight. And he'd say to me, let her go, for goodness sake. She'll be back in 10 minutes.
That's
sure
exactly
enough,
right.
She was,
Yeah.
it was gone and it was out, and we all started again. So holding those boundaries, I want everyone to know it is really, really hard. And sometimes I didn't, and I failed.
Of course.
Not failed, but didn't happen. But the times that I did, it is really, really worthwhile. And what I say to people sometimes too is those boundaries that you put in, I used other parents often for my boundaries because I wasn't not a super strong person in that sense. My daughter had a friend's mum and dad who were really strict. And if she wanted to go to any party, I would say to her, are Hannah's mum and dad letting her go to the party? And if she'd say no, I'd say, well, you're not. Because I know it was obviously going to be something that wasn't going to be, and her dad was the most wonderful man. He would ring people up and ask if there was going to be alcohol there. And if they said yes, there was no party. So I went with that. And he got me to ring on the alternate times. And when I did it, I had a screaming teenager saying to me, I can't believe you're doing this. I can't believe you're doing this. And my answer that I could give was, no, David and I have a deal, and this is what I do. So sometimes you might need someone in the background to help bolster your decisions. Don't make it all about you and having to do it. Have support, because support is a wonderful thing too.
I think also know that kids will try many different strategies. They're very clever. We had a rule in our house that no technology after 9 p.m. and no technology allowed in their bedrooms. And so that was up until they were 16. And it was a strict, strong rule. And one day, my son was 14. He comes out 5 to 9 and says, I haven't done my homework, and it's due tomorrow. Now his little sister, because little sisters are always great, calls out, well, you shouldn't have been on the Xbox all night, should ya? And I'm like, bingo, she's nailed him, because I wasn't that parent who was like, have you done it, have you done it, have you done it? So he's got to learn with natural consequences. So anyway, I said, you've got 5 minutes. So he does... He says, no, Mum, you don't understand. It's a really important assignment. I said, you've got 5 minutes. So he goes through 3 phases to try and change my mind. Phase 1 is when he says, the begging phase. I will do anything. I will wash your car. I will do the dishes. I will do any jobs. I'll be your slave for a week if you just let me have the computer. And I go, you've got 3.5 more minutes. Mm-hmm. So then he goes to phase 2. And phase 2 is, you're the worst mother in the world. I absolutely hate you. Every other mother would let me do this. You're the worst mother in the world. So guilt right now, even the I'm going to run away, or the really hard part for parents, I'm going to kill myself, and which is really hard when you hear your kids say that. Yeah. But most of the time, and I want to preface this because, but most of the time it is a strategy that they are using to make you change your mind. Unless there's history, unless there's,
behind it. Yeah.
So the third phase is when they do this. And you don't have the visual, but you'll just have to get the auditory. It sounds like this. You don't understand. And tears roll down their face. And when a 14-year-old boy cries in front of his mother, it's serious, right?
It is.
Absolutely serious. I look at my watch and go, you've got 30 seconds. He says, can you wake me up at 6 o'clock in the morning? I'll do it then. He's allowed the computer then. He's not allowed it in his bedroom. He's got to go to bed at 9 o'clock. So he learned about boundaries were there. He learned that he gets it done faster in the morning than he would have if he'd done it at night. So there was an extra learning there. And I held my boundary, and like internally my head's screaming, and I'm like, maybe he does hate me. But here's the thing. Have you ever seen those waterworks just turn off?
Yes.
They just turn off. They have these big waterworks, and then they're just like, well, can you do this then? So it's all a strategy. So the begging, the yelling and screaming, and then the waterworks.
That's fantastic. That's an excellent story. And it really does put it in, because you are sitting there and you're thinking, what a bad parent am I? Oh, I'm being so mean. And like you say, hanging in there, usually they work out their own solution. Mm-hmm. And if it is, and like you say, if it is to fail the next day, they've learnt their lesson for the next time, haven't they? You know, they won't
Hopefully.
leave something until we hope so.
Some of them have to have the same lesson over and over again. But it's part of life, right?
It is. And if you weren't handing something up to your boss wouldn't let you throw a tantrum and let you get out of it, you know, later in life, crying and doing all the rest of it. Well, not most bosses. So these are great learning experiences. And listening to what Karen's just said, if you're out there and you're living in that and you can't get through it, give it a go. See if you can push it to the last thing and just see what happens as a result. It's really worth experimenting with all this stuff too, because believe it or not, your child is not going to not love you after all of these things that you do with them, because they love us today, don't they, Karen?
Absolutely. And I can tell you that my son doesn't even remember this instance.
No.
So he doesn't remember it at all. It's not in his psyche. I mean, I wrote about it. I've talked about it. So I remember it. But he would go, I don't even remember that.
So if people keep that in mind too, that, you're the worst parent in the world and I'm never going to, I'm going to remember this always. That doesn't happen. They actually sometimes really appreciate it. I sat with a young girl once and she said, Mum was really tough on me. And she said, actually, I am so grateful for that. So just remember that might happen too.
Yeah. I think there's got to be, you've got to pick your battles. I think that's, and I don't have them with me today, but I just saw a meme about the 7 battles that you should choose. And I love some of those ideas. And so pick your battles, decide what's important for you, where your values are, and hold those ones tight.
Yes, because I think if you decide on your values, you can hold them tightly. Because my daughter said to me, when she got older, she said, Mum, you used to be, you were so strict about in these areas, but you didn't care around other areas, whereas her friends' parents were opposite. And I said to her, yes, they were the things that I could truly stand by, like good table manners. Make sure you get your assignments done, no sleeping with anyone in the house until you're 20. They're the things for later for parents. But things that you hold on to, I could stick by all of those. But the things I didn't have as much value around were not necessarily as strong in my disciplinary style.
Yeah, so one of the things I hold very strong is freedom of choice and health. And so the food that my children were allowed to eat in my home is probably... Well, I controlled it very strongly as far as I could. That didn't mean they couldn't have an ice cream and they couldn't have dessert, but it was done in a controlled way so that they could know what a healthy choice was. And so, yeah.
And I'm a huge believer. I did the same thing. And that's another podcast for another time, is what food can do to your child's mental health and to their study, to everything. So we won't start that one today. So hit us up with another one. What else do you do that you think parents, need help with or could understand better?
I'm going to say this one, and it's about relationships. And I know you and I have talked about this before, Kate. But I think, again, it's the modelling. There's the relationship of yourself. There's a relationship with your partner, or whether you are living with them or not, the father or the mother of the children,
yes,
and the relationship you have with your child. So I think the most important relationship you should have as a parent is the relationship with yourself. Put yourself first. The burnt chop syndrome is when we cook the dinner and there's one burnt chop. We give it to ourselves because then there's no aggro and there's no problems. But my friend Lisa O'Neill, she's got 3 children and she puts out the plates and she says 5 plates for mum and dad and the 3 kids, and there's a burnt chop, and she goes, which child don't I like today? And she gives them the burnt chop. She doesn't tell them, but she always gets the best chop. Now, yes. Kate, did you read this book as a child? The
Little Red Hen?
Little Red Hen. Yes, you already knew what I was going to say.
Yeah.
The Little Red Hen, she did all the work and no one wanted to help, and then all of a sudden they want to have all the goodness. So I think if we look after ourselves first, this doesn't mean being selfish, but it does mean self-care. And so if you do the work, you get the reward. And then children start to notice. They go, how come you got the best one? And I go, well, I did the work. And they go, can I help? Because they want the best one. And it's like, sure, if you help, you can choose, And
fabulous idea.
So it's a beautiful little thing as a parent to be able to say, I'm going to model this first. Then I think the second relationship you need to model is one with your significant other or the children's mother or father, that you've got a good solid relationship, whether you like them or not, if they're not living in your home.
Yes.
But that you honor that relationship because it is their mother or their father. And so rather than bagging that person in front of your children, it's like honor that relationship because they are that
Yes, they
important
are.
person
and
to
it
that.
does make a huge difference.
Yeah.
A huge difference.
And if you have your partner in your house, whether it's the children's biological or not, that is your second most important relationship, that you make time to show each other that you love each other, that you are helpful and kind, and that you thank each other. I thank my husband every single day for wiping the bench and doing the dishes. He thanks me for cooking the dinner. Now, most people would say, but he's supposed to wipe the bench. He's supposed to do the dishes. Well, yeah, he is. It's his job. It's what, it's part of our agreement. But I still thank him because I'm appreciative and I'm grateful that he does it.
And how great does it feel when someone actually acknowledges something you do, no matter how big or small it is? It's just nice to be thanked.
And we work on that relationship and being the best we can be together, because one day, tell me this happens, Kate. No, I'm not going to ask you. One day the kids are going to leave home. They are.
It's okay. 3 more weeks. I think I'm there. Ooh,
oh my God.
Yeah, go on.
How exciting. I don't want to wake up one day when the children finally leave home and go and look at the man in my bedroom and go, who is he?
Yes.
I want to know him intimately, and I want to, we are excited. We're already taking weekends away without them and going, this is what it's going to be like. Yes. And so first relationship with yourself, second relationship with your significant other, third relationship with your child. And so build that relationship every single day. Read stories with them as long as you can. Do jigsaw puzzles, watch their movies, play their games, go and watch their sport. Do whatever it is that you can do to really connect with that child. And yes, I've sat on the bed and watched, not on the bed, because on the couch. I've sat on the couch and watched and tried to play computer games that I have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm trying to connect with my son and trying to understand what it is that he does and what he loves. And so at least I give it a go.
Yep.
I don't have to like it.
But they do actually appreciate it.
Yeah.
They think it's weird that you're sitting there. But there is that slight, what are you doing here? And then they want to teach you because they detect that interest. Well, lack of interest, but interest that you have. And it is. And once again, when you're talking about all of those things and we're discussing it, check on our podcast on love languages, which I also have in the podcast, because your love languages and your child's love languages are really important in all of this. Because if you've got a child that loves quality time, that's what you do. If you have one that doesn't and loves gifts, and that's what you do, and that's what's going to make them feel loved. And the important part also about loving your partner is modeling it, but your kids also feel safe when they know that their parents love each other and they can see it. Like my two used to go, that's disgusting, like this whenever we'd kiss or whatever, but deep down they really loved it because it makes them feel safe. They feel secure. And just one more thing before we go on this. Often people put themselves down too. So I actually counselled someone once who said, my child's talking back to me and they're telling me I'm no good and all this type of thing. And I said to them, well, what do you say to them about yourself? Oh, sorry, Mummy's fault. Mummy's to blame. I didn't mean, I'm really bad. This was her conversation.
I'm such an idiot.
Yes, I'm such a bad mum. And so there she was telling her child what kind of a mother she was. And the child was just repeating back what she'd told them. And I said to her, I tell my kids I'm an amazing mother and that I'm fantastic and they're probably not going to find anyone else like me. And so therefore, they don't believe that. But therefore, I'm not putting myself down. And I do think I've done my very best job. And if I make mistakes, I tell them so and I apologize. And I do say to them now, I've done my very best job and I'll go on doing it. But if you ever need to see a psychologist, you're more than welcome. Go and do it. But I have done my best job and nobody's perfect. The thing is that nobody is perfect. We just all do the very best we have. But if we keep learning and have the knowledge and the skills to improve ourselves, most important thing ever.
I gave my children middle names so they could go for counselling.
What did you give them?
Oh, well, you'll know, Kate, that when I sign off my emails and everything, I always write rainbows and sunshine.
Yes.
So they're my two favourite things. So my son's middle name is in Te Reo in Maori is Niwa, meaning rainbow, and my daughter Rahana, meaning sunshine. So I said, I gave them to you so you've got something to talk to a counsellor about.
That's right, because they're not going to have to talk to us.
I've been telling them since they were little, so you're going to end up at a counsellor, don't worry.
Yeah, that's right. That's all right. And they can talk about anything they like, but you're good, and you've got rainbows and sunshine in your children, so
I know,
that's all cool. Might as well screw them up with a name, forget anything else.
That's right.
Oh, Karen, it's wonderful talking with you. Thank you so much. I hope that you listeners today can get something out of our conversation, because, look, we are getting older and we have got a lot of wisdom sitting in there, and I hope that some people will benefit from today and others will just have a laugh. But thanks for having me, Karen. Thanks for being on my show.
Thanks for having me, I'm supposed to say to you.
And what we're going to do, leave all Karen's details on this. She is an amazing teacher, and she has got a lot of worthwhile workshops on her website that you might like to look into. And she and I have both got a book on parenting, so check out our books. Now let us all remember that balance is the key. We're all unique, but in understanding and acknowledging your personal preferences, your parenting, teaching your students and your kids will help you to teach with greater knowledge, clarity, empathy, and understanding. Thank you for listening to Personalities, Parenting and Partners. If you enjoyed this episode, we'd love it if you leave a rating and a review that could help others learn and also enjoy this podcast. If you have an episode idea, please send a note to thepersonalitycoach@gmail.com. If you're interested in discovering more about you and your family's personality types, you'll find my newly launched book, Who is This Monster or Treasure in My House, on Booktopia or Amazon.